I am checking to see. Can I be heard? Can I be heard? That seemed to work. Okay. So okay. So hopefully this is working. It seems to be working. I just have to make sure to keep close. I am going to post an invite in the chat. There's the Discord. King. Okay. So, well, at least that seems to be working. Okay, great. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and start on Psalm 119. I'm probably going to do a few streams this week. Somebody asked me for Genesis 40, I believe it was. I'm probably going to do that. I want... Excuse me. I want to sorry, I'm still having some technical issues. Hopefully it's working. Okay. I want to do a response to a video Pastor Tanner did. Okay. So hopefully things will go well. Yes, this is a new stream time. I'm trying this 1 hour earlier to see if it works. Hey, Ed. Hopefully this is... There we are, yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and start on Psalm 119. So Psalm 119 is the longest chapter in the entire Bible. It is an 8-fold acrostic. So acrostic poems, each of them start, each line starts with one of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. So you'll see, especially on in Psalm 119, pretty much everybody when they print it, well, the Christian translations, the Hebrew translations, don't do this because the Hebrew's right there, but they will actually put aleph, bet, right, to tell you that in the original, the words start with that letter, right? So, other famous, I think Psalm 145 is also an acrostic. Generally, the acrostic psalms are just one acrostic. So it goes aleph, bet, gimel, daled, right? So the thing that's unique about Psalm 119 is that it is an eightfold acrostic. So it has eight times each letter. So the first 8 stanzas are Aleph. The next 8 are Bet. So there are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. So you end up with 8 times 20, 22, which is 176 total stanzas. Yes, 176. See, I know arithmetic. Yay. And I'm going to try doing 3 letters, so 24 verses. The verses are actually pretty short, so it might actually go very fast. We'll see. Part of the thing is it's also very, very poetic. I mean, I've always, it's not, the meaning is pretty clear, but I think we might actually end up talking a lot about the morphology of the individual words. But yeah, so let's see, what's this note here? Yeah, it says that it's an acrostic. Yeah, so that's note A there. That's based on the word there. So let's go ahead and read, unless there's any questions. Let's go ahead and read. And this whole psalm, right, 119, is all about how perfect and great God's, well, the New King James says, meditations on the excellencies of the Word of God, right? How perfect the Torah is. Rabbi Skobach tells a story most of you have already heard many times, but I really love the story. He got a phone call from a cloistered monk. So cloistered monks are people who live in monasteries and they have basically no contact with the outside. And he got a call from a cloistered monk who asked him, who said he wanted to talk to him, and so he ended up driving to the monastery, and the monk said that he wanted to convert to Judaism, and so Rabbi Skobach's like, well, why would you want to do that? And how did that fall into your mind? And the monk told him that they recite the entirety of the book of Psalms every day. And so he recites Psalm 119 every day. And it just hit him that if the word of God is so, the Torah is so perfect and great, well, why isn't he keeping it? So yeah, that story is something. But yeah, so Psalm 119 and NKJV. Blessed are the undefiled or blameless in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord. NIV, blessed are those whose ways are blameless, who walk according to the law of the Lord. Chabad, praiseworthy are those whose way is perfect, who walk with the law of the Lord. And let's look at the Hebrew. Ashrae temimei darech haholchim betorat havaya. Okay, so this word Ashrae, it is related to the root Aleph Shin Resh, which is, I guess, happiness. So when people are wishing good tidings in Hebrew, they will wish people Osher ve'Osher. So Osher with an Aleph and Osher with an Ayin, right? And Osher with an Ayin means wealth, happiness, blessedness. And this word Ashrae, yeah, shows up a lot. Ashrecha Israel, from Deuteronomy 33 is pretty, yeah. Ashrecha matov chalkecha, it's, is it, yeah. So Ashrae shows up a lot. And yeah, they are happy. I guess it's an interjection. Temime darech. So this is in construct form. Temim. So tam, right? Yaakov ish tam, is sometimes translated as whole, sometimes as pure. Sometimes, people might remember it from the Passover Haggadah, which says Tam Mahu Omer, right? What does the simple son say? That's this word Tam. So Tamim means somebody who is innocent, but also it has a meaning of completion. So temimim, and temimim is being turned into a construct with derech. This is changing to darech because actually, I think the way this is chanted, you'll see. I think we'll see a lot of 6-letter. I mean 6-word. Pretty much, yeah. They're all 6-word stanza verses. So there's kind of like a comma after the third word, and that's why derech is changing to darech like it would at the end of a sentence. But it's basically the word derech, right, way. So the temime derech haholchim betorat havaya. So holchim obviously is the participle. It's the present tense of holech, to walk or to go, and bet, prepositional bet, in, right, torat havaya. So this is the word Torah in a construct form with the tetragrammaton. Yeah, I mean, all the words here are pretty clear. Translating into English, not so clear. Not, you saw how various people did it. In the Hebrew, the words are clear. The meaning, this is a very poetic, stylized psalm, and so we're gonna see a lot of things that are hard to translate, and especially, I mean, I don't think you can translate the 6 words, 3 words, 3 words, right? Ashrae temimei darech haholchim betorat havaya, and we're going to see this over and over again. Okay, so let's keep on going. Verse 2. Blessed, and well, actually, you kind of do see the way they're doing it here. They have the first half and the second half. They're using some commas, some semicolons there. Blessed are those who keep his testimonies, who seek him with the whole heart. Blessed are those who keep his statutes and seek him with all their heart. Ashrae, again, exactly the same word. Notzre, I guess this is from Yatsar to... Oh, not Sar. To keep guard. Notzer Chesed. Oh, Notzer Chesed. Ba'alafim. Right. I should have known that. That verse, Exodus 34, is shows up a lot in liturgy. I mean, the word, yeah, I guess it does show up several times. I started thinking that it was a form of Yatsar, but apparently not. Yeah, Notzer Chesed La'alafim. What it says here. Old Aramaic, protect. Yeah. So Notzrei, so those who keep, right? Edotav. So edot are, so ed means witness, and edotav, written bechisaron, a little bit thing. Hey Nisharim, how you doing? Edotav, so a little bit surprised that this is written bechisaron vav there edotav, but edot, testimonies. Yeah, I guess that's how I would translate it. They did statutes in the NIV. No, edotav. I usually testimonies makes more sense to me. I'm not sure why they did that. The whole lev yidroshuhu. Pretty cool, clear stuff there. They seek him, obviously talking about Havaya, right? And this word doresh, right, means to seek, or to the word midrash comes from the same root, which is commentary, explanation. But when you drash something, right, when you make it drasha, you're expanding it, you're delving into it. So they seek him. How did they translate it? Yeah, seek him. They also did. Yeah, yidrashuhu, right? Yeah, not. Again, I mean, it's the words are pretty clear. It's just how you translate them. I have a lot of difficulty personally translating poetry, and I think that's why we see the translations disagreeing with each other so much, because this is, even though the words are clear, it is very poetic. So they also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. They do no wrong, but follow his ways. Not only have they committed no injustice, they walked in his ways. And there are Rashis on this, because this, right, this use of the word af lo fa'alu avla bedarachav halahu. Well, first of all, I would put the comma after avla, which kind of throws off the 3 and 3 here. But the word af, honestly, I think it's there mostly because of its poetic value, right? Af lo fa'alu avla bedarachav halahu, right? So even also, not sure how you translate that off there. They have not done, right? Pa'al. This is where we get this root, is actually where we get all the forms. The songs are definitely more difficult to translate. Right. Yes, I agree, Nisharim. They're definitely more difficult. So avla. Trying to think, there are places where I think God accuses judges of doing avla, unrighteousness. Yeah, avel b'mishpat, right? Leviticus 19:15. Again, avel b'mishpat in 35. Kol oseh avel. Yeah, ve'ein avel tzadik. So avla, it shows up quite a bit actually, 53 times. The root obviously is ayin vav lamed. Okay. B'darachav halachu. In his ways they went. Very clear common words. Okay, verse 3. They also do verse 4, sorry. Yes, we're you have commanded us to keep your precepts diligently. You have laid down precepts that are to be fully obeyed. You commanded your precepts to keep diligently. Ata tzivita pikudecha, sorry, lishmor me'od. So ata, obviously, tzivita, there is that hey at the end, which I would say is a paragogic hey, not as they have the second person masculine singular there. Or yeah, the hey there is a paragogic hey. If you look suffix paragogic hey, it will tell you. We don't actually know exactly what the paragogic hey is supposed to tell us. Whereas well, yeah. Sometimes the hey just shows up, and it is what it is. So tzivita pekudecha. So this root pakad actually we use the word tafkid a lot in modern Hebrew, which is someone's kind of mission or what they have been entrusted with. So you commanded pikudecha, right? The things which you kind of, the missions you gave us, right? That's how I would translate it. Yeah, your precepts. What exactly that precepts means? Akad. Ikud precept. To so yeah, with Sarah, right? God took note, visited Sarah, pakad. That word pakad, kind of difficult. Don't know what to tell you. No, Nisharim. That hey is not for the it. Atatsivita. No, that would have a dagesh in the hey if it was for it. Tivita. I mean, if it went and pikudim, I don't think is feminine. Yeah, it's masculine, so it would be civito. No, thank you. Yeah, this is not that's not the suffix here. I don't think. No. I understand what you mean. I think it's just there poetically. Personally, I mean, I understand what you mean though. Lishmor me'od, to keep, right? It's in the infinitive, to keep. Shmor, I kind of expected there to be a vav there, if you're paying attention to that, right? To keep it very much, lishmor me'od. Again, all the words are clear here. Their usage, not so clear. Verse 5. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. Oh, that my ways were steadfast in obeying your decrees. Um, my prayers are that my ways should be established to keep your statutes. And Rashi has some things to say. Um, so let's look at the words. So achalai yikonu darachai lishmor hukecha. Um, so they're saying this is an interjection. Oh, would that. And let's see what Rashi said. My prayers are that the aleph is a radical that is sometimes dropped, like the aleph in Achoti and the aleph in Asuch. Not exactly sure. These prayers of mine are that my ways be established likewise. 2 Kings 5:3. So he's also saying that it is that interjection from 2 Kings 5:3 that Strong's is saying. So I mean Rashi's agreeing with Strong's. Yeah, not a word I'm familiar with. I'm not sure what Rashi means by the radical being dropped. I think he might mean that actually it's a radical that's not actually part of the root of the word, because achal, not really sure what to tell you. It's a strange word, and it only shows up twice in the Bible, and it may in fact be an interjection. Achalai. Yikonu. Yud Het Lamed. That's the root to begin, right? Yeah, not sure. Yeah, I guess to begin, Achalai. What it actually reminds me of is the Arabic. I think there are similar interjections like um, calling on God in Arabic, which not sure, not sure what to tell you. Yeah, I don't think it's I don't think it's Het Lamed Hey. That I don't think. Possibly Het Vav Lamed. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just really hard to tell with these words. Yikonu is pretty clear. Um, Kivun means to aim, right? To be firm. Yeah, nahon, right? Okay, okay. Yeah, het lamed lamed is to begin. So this word either kaf vav nun or also kaf nun nun has a similar meaning, meaning to establish. It's, I mean, it's clear what it's saying. Yikonu, right? To be set. But yeah, again, even when the words are clear, it's the meaning within the poetry is going to be difficult here. Um, so achalai ikonu derachai, my ways be established, be straight, right? Be set. Lishmor chukecha, to keep your chok is what I almost always translate chok as statutes. So there are three classes of mitzvot. There's chukim, mishpatim, and uh, chukim, mishpatim, and sometimes called mitzvot, sometimes called eduyot. So mishpatim are things which we can usually translate it as judgments. Comes from the word shofet, right? To judge. Those are things which a person can rationally derive, and we generally say even it's something so. Most mishpatim, what we would call mishpatim, are things so general, so rational that even if you weren't commanded by the Torah, you should be aware of them and keep them. For example, not stealing, that type of thing. Edot are things which they're signs. They're things which set Israel apart from other nations as an indication that we belong to God, that we have been set apart to Him. So, for example, the three most commonly cited are Shabbat, Tefillin, and Milah, circumcision. So, and Hukim are things which are we do because God said so, and we don't really understand them, and that gets translated as statutes. In modern Hebrew, a chok is a law or legislation. Okay, let's keep on going. Verse 6, then I would not be ashamed when I look into all your commandments. Then I would not be put to shame when I consider all your commandments. Then I shall not be ashamed when I look at all your commandments. As lo evosh habiti el kol mitzvotecha. So as means there, then, yeah. So lo evosh. Kind of surprised at the vav there in the evosh, but bet shin shin or bet vav shin means to be ashamed, a boshet panim, right? To yeah. You can look at your concordance there, but it's pretty common. The habiti, so lahabit, this is it is in the infinitive. Usually it's translated as a glance, or a furtive look, or a small look, or a quick look, as opposed to other ways of saying to see in Hebrew, re'iyah, for example, to see. El is the preposition with the aleph, not ayin, kol mitzvotecha, all of your mitzvot. Really, lahabit is nun bet. Apparently so. I didn't realize that. Yeah, that first, because the nun is a weak vowel, is a weak radical, it gets dropped, you'll see, basically everywhere. All of these obviously this is showing up many times, 69 times, and basically in all of them the nun is disappearing. But that's what nuns do at the beginning of the beginning of a word. When it is the pe hapol, right? The first letter of a root. Okay. Call mitzvah. Words are clear. Translation, not so much. Okay. 7. I will praise you with uprightness of heart when I learn your righteous judgments. I will praise you with an upright heart as I learn your righteous laws. Right. So what Nesharim is saying is the dagesh. Although, yeah, the bet takes a dagesh oftentimes because the nun gets dropped, right? Obviously, the vocalizations are from the Masoretic tradition. They're pretty late, but they do indicate that. Yeah. Okay. What were we doing? Then I shall thank you with an upright heart when I learn the judgments of your righteousness. Verse 7. Odecha beyosher lavav belomdi mishpetei tzidkatecha. So Odecha, the only letter that's from the root there is the Daled. This is from lehodot, right? To it's where the root Yehudi, right? Judah or Jew comes from. To be modeh, to admit, give thanks, or to admit, to give thanks, or to praise. And obviously, it has all three of those things. Usually, it gets translated like Hodu, right? Odecha, like Hodu. Sometimes is translated Hodu Lashem Kitov Kilolam Chasto. Be right, praise God and give thanks to God, right? And it has all three of those understandings constantly. But when you're translating to English, like we were discussing actually earlier today on the Discord, you have to pick one of the meanings and translate it over, and that's why Gavin was saying on the Discord he didn't find a lot of gratitude in the Bible, and part of that is because this particular root, it's gratefulness, thankfulness aspect doesn't translate very often, very well. So yeah, beyosher, right? Yashar means straight. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're keeping track of the maleh and chaser. The vav there is chaser. Levav, like I've said before, there's two ways of saying heart in Hebrew, with one bet or two. Generally, we say that if it's lev, it is talking about an undivided heart, often, mostly, a pure heart. Whereas when we use the word levav, we are referring to your two inclinations, both your evil inclination and your good inclination. Belomdi mishpetei tzidkatecha. So yeah, in my learning, the root lamed mem daled, pretty clear, solid root there. Mishpetei tzidkatecha. tzidkecha, sorry, judgments of your righteousness. Yeah, I guess that's how you would translate it. It is in smichut, right? Mishpatim with tzidkatecha, and how you want to translate tzedek. Usually, most people translate it with translate it as righteousness, but for example, when we say tzedakah, we kind of translate it otherwise. Okay, verse 8. I will keep your statutes. Oh, do not forsake me utterly. I will obey your decrees. Do not utterly forsake me. I shall keep your statutes. Do not forsake me utterly. So they seem to all agree. Et chukecha eshmor al ta'azveni ad me'od. I'm actually kind of surprised that's the word that they're translating as forsake. So, et chukecha eshmor, pretty clear stuff. I mean, it's yeah, I will keep your pretty clear stuff there. Nothing surprising. Al ta'azveni. So the root ayin zayin bet means to leave alone. Do not leave me. Yeah, I would also translated like Nesharim. By the way, I'm going to have a little discussion with Nesharim later this week, and because he obviously knows a lot of Hebrew and valuable contributions to the channel. But yeah, I also to leave, right? In modern Hebrew, when you want to say leave your little brother alone, you say tazovato, right? Leave him alone. Stop bothering him. Checking, see what's going on. Okay. But yeah, they're all saying forsake. I agree with Nesharim. I would probably translate this leave or abandon, actually. Don't abandon me. Ad me'od. Again, I mean, ad me'od. Not sure how you translate ad me'od. Until much. Utterly, yeah. Very much so. Don't abandon me too much. Overly abandon me. Not sure. Okay, let's. And we are starting on the bets. How can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed according to your word. How can a young person stay on the path of purity? By living according to your word. Abad. In what manner should a youth purify his way? To observe according to your word. Bameh yizakeh na'ar et orcho lishmor kitvarecha. So bameh, how, with what, right? Literally with what? Bameh. Yeah. Yizakeh. So zchut is Adamod is very interesting. Yeah. I don't know how you would translate it though. Yizakeh. So zchut, to be zoche, right, gets used a lot in modern Hebrew, or as a chut, or in Ashkenazi zchus, right? Is a merit, right? It can also, I mean, zochech means to purify. Guess that's why they're saying to clean or pure. To dovrecha tizke beshoftecha. always to be pure, always in a moral sense. Um, I would probably translate it to merit. I guess the modern use has, and they also say compare with zachach, right? To and zechuchit is glass in modern Hebrew. So I mean, um, there is that famous verse from the Mishnah. Ratzah Kadosh Baruch Hu lezakot et Israel lefichach hirba lahem Torah mitzvot, and all the drushas that go on with that. This word zoche, right? Zakah and zachuch, right? To clarify, to be clean, to be and to merit. Yizaken na'ar et orcho. So I guess, yeah, clear up his ways. Na'ar is young man. Or orech means way. Pretty clear stuff, right? His way, a young man, his way. Lishmor kidvarecha, by guarding as your words, taking heed. Yeah. I mean, again, clear. The wording is clear. The translation, not so much. It's just very poetic. Next verse. With my whole heart I have sought you. Oh, let me not wander from your commandments. I seek you with all my heart. Do not let me stray from your commands. God. With all my heart I searched for you. Do not cause me to stray from your commandments. The Hebrew, Bechol libi derashticha, al taskeni mi mitzvatecha. So again, the word darash is the same as we had before. Lev here, heart, is with one bet, not two. Taskeni. Now that's sin Gimel A. Not familiar with this, although apparently it gets used a lot in the Bible, 21 times. So in Ezekiel, the flock, right? Yisku tzoni, right? My flock has wandered. Here, peti, from go astray. Oh, it's not sin, it's shin, like shogeg. Oh, it's a shin. Why did I think it was a sin? Yeah, this is a shin. So a shogeg is a unintentional sin. So this, I would say, is probably related to the word shogeg. Yeah, that makes sense. For some reason, I thought that was a sin. It's a shin. I don't know why I got that confused. Hashkeni mi mitzvotecha. Yeah, don't cause me to stray from Hashkeni. Yeah. Al tashkeni mi mitzvotecha. Not again, not sure how you would translate it. Nun shin gimel. That's not what that isn't what Strong's has. Strong's has it as shin gimel hey. Honestly, it seems to me it's probably related to shogeg. is shogeg? Oh, it would be. Um. Uh. Yeah, shgaga, right? Yeah. Shagag, to stray, commit, or I personally would say that these are related. Obviously, that might be just because there is the two-letter root shin gimel, um, might be what's going on there, but yeah, and Tashkeni Tefil, that's what Bible Hub has, and sounds right to me. Mi mitzvotecha, from your mitzvot, from your. Okay, verse 11. Your word I have hidden in my heart, that I might not sin against you. I have hidden your word in my heart, that I might not sin against you. Yeah, actually, we're gonna have to discuss what you think of the two letter root thing. I do believe that there is, um, I I think that makes sense, that there is that two letter thing. Yeah. In my heart, I hid your word in order that I should not sin against you. The Hebrew, belibi tsafanti imratecha lama'an lo echte lach. So in my heart, again, the heart there is with one bet. Tzafon, right? Tzafon is north or hidden. This shows up a lot. So it actually, I might even translate this as treasure. To to keep people. I mean, from the Passover Haggadah, right? There is tzafun, right, which is the hidden thing for the end. I would probably translate this treasure, because the hiding part. I mean, tzafan obviously has an implication of um, um, has an indication of like guarding type hiding, not as in English. There's that implication that it's kind of a embarrassment, but and that's tzafan, to me, doesn't have that meaning. Imratecha, right? Your words. Obviously, usually when we say your words, we're talking about the root dalet bet resh. Here it's the root aleph mem resh. Lama'an lo echte, so that I will not sin. The root chet there has the same meaning as to miss the mark in archery. Yeah, and that it's lach, not so much because it's in the feminine, although it kind of is, but at the end of a sentence, lacha will change to lach. So how, I mean, how you want to take that, how you want to. So there is disagreement about why exactly in the Hebrew sometimes we end up referring to God in the feminine, and if it's just a stylistic thing or if we actually mean it. Obviously, if we were referring to God in the feminine, it would be lach here, and um, it's if you do believe, and as I do, that this is the holy word of God, it's not just coincidence that it changes to lach. Okay. Where were we? Blessed are you, O Lord. Teach me your statutes. Praise be to you, Lord. Teach me your decrees. Blessed are you, O Lord. Teach me your statutes. Baruch atah havaya lamdeni chukecha. So, little bit of Orthodox Judaism here for you. If you start to say, yes, yeah, that is true. So Nesharim says even some human males in the Tanakh use feminine suffixes, sometimes for grammar reasons. Yes, that is true, but it's possible to say that that's also for that also means something there. It mostly happens because of the trope. Almost always it's because how it is the cantillations. If there is a strong stress on it, it will switch from lecha to lach. So yeah. So in Orthodox Judaism, if you start saying a bracha and you realize that you shouldn't be saying a bracha, so you say Baruch Atah Hashem, so that that word, so that your bracha will not be lebatala. You're not saying the name of God in vain. Many people will have this verse, will finish off with this verse so that they are not saying a bracha lebatala. So all the brachas, right, start Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, right, whatever the bracha is. And this one verse is Baruch Atah Hashem Lamdeni Chukecha. So lamed here is in the imperative, it's in the command form. Chukecha, your statutes. Pretty simple stuff as far as the meaning goes. Verse 13. With my lips I have declared all the judgments of your mouth. With my lips I recount all the laws that come from your mouth. With my lips I recited all the judgments of your mouth. Betzfatai siparti kol mishpete picha. So sfat is a lip, right? It can include, for example, like sfat hayam is a beach, right? So the lip of a sea, right? So but sfatai are my lips. Yeah. So sfati would be my lip. Sfatai is my lips. Yeah, that's just how it works. Siparti, the root is samech peresh, which is where sipur and sefer come from. To declare, to say, to recount, to count. Yeah, I mean, it's a particular way of saying to say. Yeah, siparti, I recounted. Yeah, I mean, did any of them translate it as recounted? where were we? 13. Recited, declared, recount in the NIV. Yeah, any of those, it makes sense. Yeah, kol mishpatei picha, all the judgments of your mouth. Pretty simple stuff. Okay. 14. I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies as much as in all riches. I rejoice in following your statutes as one rejoices in great riches. With the way of your testimonies, I rejoiced as over all riches. Bederech edotecha sasti ka'al kol hon. So bederech, in the vocalization there is no article there, so it's not in the way, right? But in way, right, of edotecha, right, your testimonies. Sasti, so sason is means, it's one of the ways of saying joy. So sasti, I rejoiced. Ke'al kol hon. So hon means riches. Yeah, it shows up quite a bit in the Bible, I think. 26 times. Yeah. Wealth. Yeah, in poetry, almost holy wisdom or literature. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. um, yeah. Honestly, I mean, the word is poetic. Verse 15. I will meditate on your precepts and contemplate your ways, or look into your ways. I meditate on your precepts and consider your ways. Chabad. Concerning your precepts, I shall converse and I shall look at your ways. Bepikudecha asicha va'abita orchotecha. Yeah. So again, pikudim, right? Precepts, as they're saying, pikudecha bepikudecha asicha. So siach is chatter. I will meditate. Yeah, I mean a sicha. To muse, complain, talk of. Yeah, 7 times it's translated as meditate. Muse. Not sure. Honestly, not. Meditate. Okay, that's what Ashrae. Yeah, declare, right? Yeah. Abita or chotecha, again, abita, like we were talking earlier, nun bet het, contemplate, glance, look into, right? Or chot, again, we talked about orech, right? Is a way, or chotecha, your ways. Kind of surprised or chotecha is written without any vavs. I would have expected actually at least the second vav to be there, but yeah. Abita or chotecha, I will look at your ways. Yeah, yeah. Again, the words are clear. And these hays are showing up there. They're saying they're cohortive, which I guess makes sense. The cohortive hay. Suffix. Direction. Yeah, so if you want to look at verb cohortative, in the unfolding word Hebrew grammar there, pretty good stuff. To see where that hay is coming. But yeah, that makes cohortive. And for both of those hays there. Okay. And I'm not sure how you would translate the cohortive nature here. Here, let's the cohortive form is used to express indirect commands and other similar actions with varying degrees of desirability as determined by the context. So in English, a cohortive is often translated with a helping verb such as let, want, will. Depending on the context, let us do this, I want to do this. Thus, the cohortive verb functions as an indirect command. The reader must examine the context to determine the strength of desirability being expressed in each specific instance. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do with these cohortives here, asicha va'abita, they're there. Not sure how you translate them. Verse 16. Okay. I will delight myself in your statutes. I will not forget your word. I delight in your decrees. I will not neglect your word. Your statute with your statutes, I shall occupy myself. I shall not. No. The hay is not this here. What it is it is a it's a part of the conjugation which implies emotional attachment. So I want to, right? So no, not here, not here. So if you look at yeah, I understand what you're thinking, but that's not what's going on here. If you look in the Bible Hub, no. You're thinking of the suffix. This is not part. This is not a suffix. Um, this is part of the conjugation of the verb, saying that the person is desiring this thing especially, right? Asicha abita right? That the hey at the end is kind of emphatic. So here I will put this into the notes. Hopefully I can. Me try that again. Sorry. I'll put this into the chat for. Yeah, kind of like an emphasis. The unfolding word Hebrew grammar, honestly, I kind of feel like grammarians a little bit too much, right? But yeah, this cohortative hey at the end of a word is a pretty common thing. Yeah, yeah, that's what's going on there. So I would take a look at that thing there from the unfolding word Hebrew grammar. It's a pretty good website. Cool. Okay, so let's keep on going. We were on 16, I believe. Yeah. Bechukotecha et eshtaasha, sorry, lo eshkach devarecha. So, this is a very weird, sha'ashuim are, delight, and this is in the hitpa'el form. It's in the, so what happens is when the pehapoal, the first letter of the root is a shin, and it's in the hitpa'el, it switches the shin and the taf. So that's what's going on here. And this is a weird, it's not a, the root is not a pal, it's a palpel. So there is this palpel form where you have a 2-letter root doubled. Most commonly like mevazvez, right, which is related to bizayon, which means to waste or to, or mevalbel, right, which means to confuse. But here it's sha'ashuim, which actually sha'ashuim, I believe, shows up several times in the Bible. Yeah, 9 times. And here it's actually in the hitpa'el form, and that's why it's so weird. Eshta and it's very hard, with the olives and the ayins. So it's I will cause myself to be delighted, I would say. But yeah. Eshta asha. Lo eshkach devarecha. I will not forget, right? Shochech means to forget. Devarecha, your word. Yeah, it's well, it's actually, I guess, pit palpel. Yeah, stem hit palpel. It is an extremely rare stem formation that is similar to the hitpa'el. Yeah. Yeah. So hitpalpel. So oh right, mitkalkel, right, to sustain, to feed. I that I think shows up quite a bit. Yeah, it is reflexive, right? It's reflexive with the thing, with the 2-letter. It's yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear, but it is what it is. Okay. Where were we? 17. So here we are on Gimel. Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word. Be good to your servant while I live, that I may obey your word. 17. Bestow kindness upon your servant. I shall live and I shall keep your word. So, yeah. Gamol al avdecha echye ve'eshmara devarecha. So gomel means to finish, but it means also to so a gemach, gemelut chesed, is to do an act of kindness, right? So to ligmol, deal bountifully, ripen, yeah. Wean. I'm surprised it's wean. Oh, right, Behigamel, right, with Isaac. Yeah. Uh, it has a sense of completion to it. Yeah. So Gamol al Avdecha, give to I mean, honestly, I don't know how to translate it, and I guess that's why Rashi has that note here. Gamol, a thing that with which I will be able to live through the bestowal of your kindness. Yeah, I mean, it's saying deal kindly, I guess. Yeah. Gamol al Avdecha, your servant, right? Referring to himself as God's servant. Echyeh ve'eshmara devarecha. I will live so that I will live. Again, this is cohortive, right? Cohortative. With those hays at the end, right? To live and to keep your words. Yeah. 18. Open my eyes that I may see wondrous things from your law. Open my eyes that I may see wonderful things in your law. Uncover my eyes, and I shall look at hidden things from your Torah. Galenai va'abita niflaot mi Toratecha. So this is actually a very, very commonly cited verse. Yeah, gal enai. So gal here is in the command form of to uncover, right? Open but uncover. Yeah. Enai, my eyes. The abita, again, the abita is with the hay, again, cohortive, to glance at, to see. Niflaot, so the root here is pele, which can mean things which are beyond our understanding, basically what I would say. So I will see niflaot, right? Wondrous things, wonderful things. Yeah, mi Toratecha, from your law, from your Torah. Yeah, I mean, the words are pretty clear. This verse, however, is more b'milui. If you're paying attention to that, especially the niflaot, and Torah is almost always written with above. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me even though I moved. I need to remember to stay close to the microphone. Okay. Next verse. I am a stranger in the earth. Do not hide your commandments from me. I am a stranger on earth. Do not hide your commands from me. Cool, great. I am a stranger in the land. Do not hide your commandments from me. Ger anochi ba'aretz al taster mimeni mitzvatecha. Interesting. So ger oftentimes gets translated as sojourn, right? It can mean like a convert. It means not a resident, right? I often translate it as non-resident alien, kind of, or even a resident alien. Yeah, resident alien is kind of like a ger, that stranger, I guess. Yeah. In order to be consistent, I usually translate ger as sojourn if I'm translating it. But yeah, I'm a little surprised that anochi. So the pronoun is being used as a stand-in for the verb to be um, in the present tense. That happens. I'm a little surprised that this is the more formal anochi, right? The more formal first person pronoun. But it is, yeah. Guess it makes sense. Yeah, lagur is the root there. Gimel vavresh. Ba'aretz, in the land. So there is the article there in well, I mean, it's kind what it means. Haaretz, when we say the land, we are usually referring to the land of Israel. But I'm honestly not so sure what exactly it means. I am a stranger in the land. Oof. Honestly, I mean, this verse makes me want to look at the commentaries. What exactly it means, ger anochi ba'aretz, that I am a stranger in the land. But I mean, the words are clear. Al taster mimeni mimitzvotecha. Do not hide, right? Seter. Hester astir panai, right? I shall surely hide. The root samech tafresh does get used a lot. It's pretty clear, right? This is not like tzafun, right? Which is a guarding or treasuring. Um, is is this a Psalm of David? Was it written? I'm not sure if this is a Psalm of David or not. Let me. There you go. No. Ibn Ezra, Barur Hayom, Ger Kamot Veshogeh B'derachim, and Amar Khan. Yeah, I mean, the Ibn Ezra is saying that a ger, a convert, is somebody who is not well accustomed to things. V'neged kotzer hamasi. Ger ba'aretz l'soshen hamasi. This is the Malbim. Metoshvei ha'olam. So he's actually taking the Malbim is taking it where I thought I was personally thinking, is that my soul is a stranger in the material world. Um, um, I mean, the Mitsudat David similar to the Malbim, the Radak similar to the Malbim. It's talking about, they're talking about your soul being being foreign in the material world. I am not sure if this is a Psalm of David or not. I mean, it doesn't claim to be one. So, and several of the commentaries were saying, yeah, like a citizen of heaven sojourning here, right? Yeah, so the soul is here only for a set time, right? Yeah. Okay, let's keep on going. Verse 20. Okay. Okay. My soul is crushed or breaks with longing for your judgments at all times. My soul is consumed with longing for your laws at all times. My soul is crushed from longing for your judgments at all times. Garsa nafshi leta'ava el mishpatecha bechol et. So this garsa, I am not very sure about. Be crushed. It's only used twice in the entirety of the Bible. Yeah, to be crushed. And that's what Rashi's explaining here. Garsa breaks as in, so he's actually saying Leviticus 2:14 has Geras with a sin. Menachem, however, associated associated from longing leta'ava with mitav from Amos 6:8. So Menachem is a Gaon that Rashi quotes many times. Geras. Geras. Huh. I mean, yes, there is definitely an argument to be made that the samech and the sin are interchangeable. And as far as Amos 8, Nishbala Im Benafsh of, so Mitaev here. So the question is what the word ta'ava here is related to. A longing, or, well, that it's the only of t. Seems, I'm not, no, I think that tough is part of the, I think the root is tough aleph bet. Lamed aleph bet? I don't think so. Yeah, tough aleph bet though is also like abomination to of. So a toeva is a oh yeah, Yeah, it's like not really sure. A toeva. Am I mistaking toeva meaning meaning abomination? Is that's um tough aleph bet as well, isn't it? Thought it is. Toeva. Genesis 24 5. No, that's something else. Oh, that's iron with an iron abomination. So I am confusing the two. That's I was wondering if I was. I mean, this root here, ava, aleph bet hey is to be willing and consent, and the law of I could understand this being related. Yeah, this is Strong's root 14. Aleph bet hey, like you said at the beginning. Um, yeah, not really sure what to do with nafshita ava. Either wanting or apparently Menachem thought that it was dest- destru- destruction. Garsa nafshi leta'ava. My soul, this is the lowest level of the soul, the nefesh, which is the more physical thing. So my soul breaks with longing, with desire. Um, El mishpatecha, this is the preposition with the aleph, not ayin. For your judgments, bechol et. Yeah, not really sure about that word tav there. Otherwise, the rest of it is pretty clear. Et is a time, a set, a moment. Okay, let's keep on going. Verse 20. Um, you rebuke the proud, the cursed, who stray from your commandments. You rebuke the arrogant who are accursed, those who stray from your commandments, your commands. Abad. You shall rebuke cursed, willful sinners who stray from your commandments. Ga'arta zedim arurim shogim mimitzvotecha. So interesting. Ga'ar to rebuke. 14 times in the Bible. and it seems, yeah, it's always translated as rebuke. So I guess rebuke is right. Zaydim. So zadon is intentional sin. I'm not sure why they translated it as presumptuous. Zadon, yeah, is a insolent, zed. Seethe. Oh, vayized Yaakov. So I guess it's used to cook as well. To deal proudly. Yeah, so Zadon and Shogeg are kind of a couplet. They are contrasted against each other a lot. Certainly in Mishnaic Hebrew. So I'm guessing that the interplay with Shogim and Zaydim here is deliberate. Zedim Arim. So the question the various translators had is whether it's saying that the Zaydim are Arim or Zaydim and Arim, kind of. So Ga'arta, Zaydim, Arim. Yeah. Which one is whether they're two or they're modifying each other, right? So the arrogant who are accursed, or you rebuke the proud, the cursed. And Chabad is you cursed, willful sinners who stray from your commandments. Yeah. Zedim. Arur shows up all the time to be cursed, right? And Shogim, we talked about Shogeg earlier, to stray, right? I do think there is a deliberate interplay here between Zadon and Shogeg, which certainly in Mishnaic Hebrew they are considered antonyms of each other. Mi mitzvotecha, from your command. Okay, verse 22. Remove from me reproach and contempt, for I have kept your testimony. Remove from me their scorn and contempt, for I keep your statutes. Remove from me disgrace and contempt, for I kept your testimony. Gal me'alai cherfa vavuz, hi edotecha natsarti. Interesting. So gal, like we said before, is to uncover. I guess here it means to remove, but literally it means to uncover. And it is in the command form, right? Me'alai, from upon me. This is the preposition with the ayin, not aleph. Cherfa, right? So reproach, I guess. I mean, how many times does cherpa show up in the Bible? Quite a bit, actually. 73 times. From charaf, to reproach, which shows up another 41 times in the Bible. Yeah, cherpa. Don't know what to tell you. One of those words we use so much, I don't even know how to translate it. It is used a lot. Cherpa with bizayon, right? Vavuz, right? Bizayon, like we said before, is scorn. and that gets used a lot. So, cherpa and vuz. So, scorn and scorn, reproach and contempt, however you want to translate that. Ki edotecha natsarti. Edot, again, are testimonies, right? Like we said before, and natsar means to keep, just like we said earlier, I believe, when we were in the first few verses. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. 23. Princes also sit and speak against me, but your servant meditates on your statutes. Though rulers sit together and slander me, your servant will meditate on your decrees. Although princes sat and talked about me, your servant conversed about your statutes. See the Hebrew. Gam yashvu sarim bi nidbaru avdecha yasiach bechukecha. Okay, so gam means also. Here I would actually probably say even though, although. Yashvu sarim bi. So yeshav means to sit or to dwell, inhabit, right? And sar is a prince, I guess. Yeah. Nasi is oftentimes translated as sar. As prince. Sar, officer, chieftain. However you want to do. Yeah. Commander, chief captain, yeah. So they sat upon me, nidbaru. Yeah, srirut, to rule, is it's an office. It's offer, yeah, having an office. The weird thing is, nidbaru, the nifal of nidbaru just stand alone means they were talked about. So be nidbaru. Regarding me, they were conversant, I guess. I don't know how you translate this. Gam yashvu sarim bi nidbaru. You don't see the nifal form of. Reminds me of nimlach. How many times does it show up in the nifal? Malachi 3:16. Az nidbaru yirei havaya ish et re'ehu. Yeah, I guess to discuss together is the nifal form of nidbar, of davar. Reciprocal sense. Speak with one another. Talk absolutely. Against Ezekiel 33:30. ואתה בן אדם בני עמך הנדברים בך אצל הקירות. And yeah, I guess it means to discuss together. The first time I remember the nifal form, obviously it doesn't get used very much of Dalet Bet Resh. So they sat together and discussed me. Bi nidbaru, avdecha yasiach bechukecha. So I, your servant, shall speak of your statutes. In the imperfect. Yeah, and actually that's what they say here in the I think it's Strong's. It's the Brown Driver Briggs that says Nidbaru is reciprocal sense. So yeah, it is kind of reflexive. Yeah, it's a very strange way of using. It reminds me of nimlach, right? Which means to consider something. But it kind of means to rule over yourself, right? The root melech means king, but nimlach means to consider. So that's what this reminds me of. It's very strange use of I mean the root daled bet resh gets used over 1,000 times in the Bible. It gets used in the Nifal apparently like 4 times total. So 1, 2, 3, 6. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very strange thing there. But you know, your servant, which he's talking about himself, Avdecha Yasiach, right? Like we said before, it means to chatter, meditate. Yeah, Bechukech. Verse 24. Were type of Nifal? I don't know. I really don't know. They were talking. Nidbaru. I really don't know. Probably the best thing would be to look at all the other places where it's used in that form. Your testimonies also are my delight and my counselor. Your statutes are my delight; they are my counselors. Also, your testimonies are my affairs, men of my counsel. Gam edotecha sha'ashu'ai anshe atzati. So, gam also, yeah. Edotecha, your testimonies, yeah. So, like we said, had before, sha'ashu'im, right, was delight. It was in a hitpa'el form, and here it's the noun, right, are my delight. Anshe atzati, the people, so anashim means men. It's in the construct form with etza. So anshe etza are counselors. Anshe etzati, my counselors. Yeah. Yeah, my counselors, anshe etzati. So edotecha are anshe etzati. Yeah, so that was Psalm 119. It took us not that long actually. Even with the little 10-minute problem with our I had with technical problems. So that's fine, I think. I might even try to do 4 instead of, well, For now, let's stick to doing 3 letters at a time, so it will take us about 7 weeks, and probably sometime if it continues to go pretty fast, I'll I'll do um I'll do 4 of them at least once so that we can get done in 7 weeks. Because I don't want to take that long. I am gonna do Psalm 40 again. I mean Psalm 40. I am going to do Genesis 40. Probably sometime this week. And I do want to do that response to Pastor Tanner's video on Paul. I am going to stick around for at least another 20 minutes. If anybody has any questions or anything, please feel free to ask. Let's see. Is going on the Discord. Yeah, I've been listening to some podcasts by linguists, and actually, I was a little bit more impressed than I used to be. I do think linguists are taking things a lot more seriously than they did when I looked into them earlier. And linguistics is kind of advancing, it seems to me. Um, yeah, it can be frustrating how there, and oftentimes, I mean, a precise word yeah. um I find the unfolding word Hebrew grammar to be really good because it seems pretty comprehensive and up to date as far as grammar goes. it's one of the sites I recommend. It's pretty good, very good. I mean, looking at yeah, um, yeah, like one thing I will say is if you look at, for example, they have this stem hishtafel, which they say is only by hishtachava, right? Like that seems way too much to me, right? Um, Personally, I would be like, well, why isn't the root shin chaf vet vav? Sorry, shin shin chet vav is totally messed that up. um, Instead, they have a whole stem hishtafel, and it's like, no, the peapal seems to me like it should be a shin. So yeah, a lot of times I think grammarians kind of take things too far, but yeah, those the now I forget what the name of the podcast is. Um Let me see if I can find it. Biblingo. So Biblingo is a website for learning biblical Greek and Hebrew, and they have I mean the podcasts are pretty long, but I it was thing. Well, I mean, uh, there's at least the seven, right? Binyanim. And I think you do, I mean, it is clear we do have like um palpel, right? That right? So lekalkel does show up, levalvel, right? Palel does seem to show up, right? Bazaz. I do think there are rare stems. I do think there are um more than the seven binyanim, but I think that those are they're extensions of the seven in pretty clear ways. Like this idea that there's a stem hishtafel, that's just beyond all words for me, right? That it only shows up with hishtachava. That's like way too much for me. But pilpel, I mean, it does show up kalkel, right? It does mekarkar, right? Isaiah 22:5, Ezekiel um 39:2, um Paul. First King 20:27, kalkala. I mean, they are there. They are there. And I think it's understandable to talk of them. Um, but yeah, grammarians I think take the rules a little bit too far. Yeah. But this podcast, I mean, if you're into podcasts, this Biblingo podcast I found actually made me more more apt to believe what the linguists say. Um, they seem to be taking very serious look at biblical Hebrew. So I do recommend it. I don't know. I mean, I believe Hebrew is the holy language. I believe that when God created the world, he created it by speaking Hebrew words. Um in that he created the Hebrew language. How that happened, what that relationship is between Hebrew and all the other languages, I do think studying linguistics can help us understand what Hebrew means and what Hebrew meant. I think the language of Hebrew, clearly by people, how it was used, did evolve, right? Um, there is later Hebrew and earlier Hebrew. Um, I'm gonna be probably on for another 12 minutes or so at 8:30 my time. Um, I mean, if people have questions or whatever, I'm here. Otherwise, I'm gonna go home and hopefully be back not too long. Oh, please plus like, and if you are not subscribed, yeah. I mean, well, I mean, what exactly do you mean by modern times? I think the Hebrew spoken by David is different than the Hebrew that was being used at the time of Jesus. Mishnaic Hebrew. Um, did it change from whenever Job was written? Because Job is probably one of the oldest parts of the Bible, Job or Genesis. Um, five books of Moses to the time of the latest prophets. Obviously, Daniel, right? That he's already using Aramaic. I think there is definitely change there. But but wouldn't you say that there's definitely a difference between the Hebrew that's used in Ezra and Daniel, as opposed to what's used in the Torah? Yeah, so I mean, I don't think the fact that, you know, the words of God are the words of God, um mean that God spoke, because ultimately all language is created and is, um right. And of course I think Daniel studied the Torah and knew the Torah and knew the Hebrew of the Torah, but I also believe that when the spirit of prophecy came to Daniel, it spoke to him in language that was familiar to Daniel. Um and that it doesn't make sense to have God, I don't think it makes sense to have this concept of God having a native language to himself the way, for instance, I do, right? When I talk to someone, I have my speech patterns which are unique to me, because I am who I am. And I think when you talk theologically, when you speak about God speaking, because God is beyond language, language is obviously finite, God is infinite. By the time divinity gets constricted into language, it gets formed by the vessel which is receiving it, which is the human being who's hearing it. That's what I would say about God's language. And so for me, it makes sense that the Hebrew that God speaks, the words with which God speaks to Moses or Job, would be different than, in fact, each person he speaks to, right? Because at that point, it's kind of like when I speak to a young child, um, I'm trying to use his language. I'm not using my language. You know what I mean? So that's, yeah, that's how I look at it. Let me put it in. No problem.
Alright, movie time. Can we watch Frozen? No, I do not have enough wine in this house to make it through that movie.
How about a Star Wars movie?
What, Star Wars? It's some stupid movie where a bunch of wizards run around with laser swords and they all have daddy issues.
Really?
Okay, Mom, Dad says it. Riley, how would you tell you?
Okay, people, I am going to end this stream.